We're here in the Phoenix locker room for another edition of Phoenix TV, and today the tables are turned a little bit. Our interviewer becomes the interviewee. Andy Costigan, welcome to Phoenix TV.
Thank you, Richard. Always a pleasure, never a chore.
This season you've gone full-time with the Phoenix, but it wasn't always the case. Tell us about what you did before you joined up on a full-time basis.
Oh my God. 29 years with Mercedes-Benz, mate, was my employment history prior to joining Phoenix on a full-time basis. I've been involved in the motor trade since I left school, which was rather too many years ago as well. And I joined Mercedes back in 77, 78, and been with them ever since until joining the Phoenix, obviously earlier this year.
So it's quite a step up to go from a career, basically, in the motor trade to joining a full-time hockey team like that. I guess the package that Neil put together was just too appealing, was it?
Well, you can say that. No, in fairness, I mean, I've always been interested in sport. I was an avid football fan for donkey's years, and I've watched hockey. I've watched hockey in Altrincham probably since about the mid-70s, in all honesty, on and off, and then certainly about 15, 20 years ago on a very, very regular basis. And then obviously with the birth of the Storm back in the mid-90s, you know, when everything went kind of crazy with the game, you know, you had to be involved at that time. But no, I mean, you know, it was a huge change for me from being involved with Mercedes-Benz, which is obviously a very, very stable environment and a very fulfilling environment, I have to say. I had tremendous time with them. I had a great career with them. And in many ways, I miss it. I miss the crack, particularly with the Germans, who, despite what everybody thinks, do have a sense of humour. They have to temper it to the British way of thinking, of course. But no, I had a great career with them, but the time was right to move on, and Neil wanted to bring somebody in full time, and I'd expressed an interest that if he ever wanted to do that, you know, I'd like to throw my hat in the ring, and things kind of went from there. So here I am full time with the Phoenix, and I'm enjoying it. It's certainly different.
Do you take your employment with the Phoenix as being a sign that the club's going from strength to strength?
I would take it certainly as being a very proactive move by Neil to bring people in on a full-time basis, because there's only so much you can do with a professional sports club, and whilst we're nothing like the size of Man United or City or anything like that, you know, this is a professional sports club, and so things have to be done on a serious level, and so, you know, I've been behind the scenes, shall we say, with the Phoenix for a while, as you yourself have too, and there comes a time where really, you know, you need to take it to another level, and that's what Neil's done this year in many facets. Actually, a lot of people don't see.
So you're involved in the Phoenix, but as you say, you've been involved in ice hockey for quite a while, and one of the areas that you are involved in is the Ice Hockey Writers Association. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I was. I actually stepped away from the Writers Association, which is now called Ice Hockey Journalists UK. I joined them back in the mid-90s when I was writing for the Ice Hockey News Review, which I thoroughly enjoyed doing, and I used to supply a lot of programme material to a number of clubs, and then I started writing for a couple of newspapers, and it really spread, so it became natural that I get involved with the Writers Association. And then about 2 years after I joined them, there was a seed change in the top, and I was asked would I take over the chairmanship, and I said, well, I would, but only on my terms, without being dictatorial. I wanted to change things for the Writers Association for what I thought would be for the better. I was duly elected, as they say, and we did make a lot of changes, and the membership of the Writers Association grew and strengthened over a couple of years. Then when things kind of went pear-shaped in Manchester, for the Storm, that is, and as you know, we formed FOMI, Friends of Manchester Ice Hockey, with the intention of bringing professional sport back to the city. That was when I kind of made a decision that I couldn't do both. I couldn't be involved with a club and then an organisation that didn't represent one club. I kind of, rightly or wrongly, I decided to throw my hat all in one ring. So I threw it in the ring of the Phoenix rather than staying with the Writers Association. I still do some writing, I still do quite a bit of writing, but nothing like the level that I was doing before, and I felt that would be false of me to stay with the organisation when I wasn't a full-time, if you like, hockey journalist.
You've got a vested interest in Manchester. One of the new recent additions to your job description has been doing the match night announcing.
Yeah.
And not only here you've been doing that, but also filling in sometimes at Sheffield when Dave Sims isn't available. Divided loyalties or what, Andy?
No, never. In much the same way as if we were ever stuck here, Dave Sims would be the first person I would call on to be our match night announcer on a one-off basis. He's passionate about the Steelers as I'm passionate about the Phoenix. But I know, and as well he knows, that if he can't do the job in Sheffield, or I wasn't available to do it here and we needed a stand-in, he can call on me and I would call on him. And I know he would come in here and do a thoroughly professional job. I wouldn't like to have him in here on a Phoenix versus Steelers game, even though he did invite me to do a Steelers versus Phoenix game. No, I mean, you know, when you get behind a microphone in a role like that, you've got to take it very, very seriously. At the end of the day, you are just a messenger for the referee to the crowd of what's gone on. And so whilst you can take a few liberties here and there and have a few one-liners and make it entertaining, the primary role is to make those game announcements and make them clearly and coherently so that people understand and know what's going on. And to some degree, so that the players know what's going on as well.
Andy Costigan, thank you very much.
My pleasure, anytime.